What's up, WrestleManiacs? Ho, ho, holy shit. Welcome to another episode of Journey into Wrestling. It's season 5, episode 11. We are feeling festive, fresh, and full of energy here today on this yippee-ki-yay motherfucking episode of the show. I am the Podfather, your host of ceremonies today, Nate. Today, joining me as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, the icon, the
Bill Goldberg dressed
Deuterino.
Bill Goldberg dressed as Santa Claus.
There. Oh, I love that. Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm not that terrible.
Oh, you wouldn't have tried to kill Taker. Anyways, welcome back to the show yet again, the one and only Buckles. How's it going, dude?
I am doing all right. I am Christmased out, but I am in a good place. It's been a good week. I'm on vacation. I am in happy spirits.
Great to see. Great to hear.
Got a professional ass or looks professional ass setup. We are in good shape.
Man, yeah, it's kind of cool to note that you do got the boom arm for your mic. You've got new lighting, a new chair, just a whole new perspective. Actually, didn't you rearrange as well?
No, I didn't, just because I don't have the floor space in here to rearrange.
So you're still in the same setup, but it looks totally different in a good way. It's like really impressive the change a few little tweaks can make.
You know, the cool thing was the boom arm and the light that I'm using only cost like a grand total of $26, something like that.
Can't beat it.
Not
at all.
Shout out to Amazon for being on top of their fucking game for this year, this time, and the craziness that we're dealing with. They got this shit to me in like a day and a half.
Wow, so that's pretty fast.
I'm incredibly impressed. Yeah, feeling festive. Got the old Die Hard Christmas sweater on, the old yippee-ki-yay mother actual fucker. The fucker lights up. Come on.
Oh, I love it. I'm glad that you're kind of like Y2J in this motherfucker.
Oh, God. Except I'm not flabby and arguing with NBA Twitter.
Ooh, I saw that. I saw some people who ended up watching from opening night of NBA that leaked into watching the Dynamite episode who roasted Jericho almost like the COVID spreading pig that he is.
Well, I mean, if you look like a marshmallow, you're going to get roasted on a fire.
Ooh.
And I even pointed out before all that happened, while we were watching Dynamite, I had sent you a message saying, dude, I'm going to be honest, Jericho does not look good.
He's being too drunk. You saw the fucking meme though of him, and it looks like when your newly single aunt's going out for a night on the town, and it was Jericho. I lost my shit. I was like, oh.
I'm gonna be honest. I am a fat motherfucker in my own personal stuff. I know that I'm an overweight son of a bitch,
bro.
So
I know you're in shape.
Round is a shape.
Round is the shape. But, I feel you there. Exactly. You know.
But when I'm seeing the same beer gut on him that I see in my mirror, there's a difference because I'm not getting paid millions.
Exactly. Well,
I'm not here to body shame or anything, but I'm not here to body shame. Offensive lineman is a body type. That's fine. I ain't here to say he looks like shit or he shouldn't be in the ring, or that it's like, man, he's kind of let himself go a little bit.
I think it's a mixture of let himself go, and he's at a point in his career with his age. Age is not time is some bitch you cannot outrun, you know, and time's catching up to him, and his decisions are, he's first of all probably not going to the gym a whole bunch. That's obvious.
I've read that he's got a bit of a drinking problem. Not to say he's alcoholic or anything, just the dude likes the beer, and that's not going to help anybody's physique.
No, not at all. And of course, Jericho also being one of those dudes who is, a rock star. That life can poison people, and I know he's not like, a super celebrity and chicks are like fawning over him, but I'm saying when you get that mentality of like playing for people,
it's true. It is very true, and I hate to make the rock star analog because, I mean, flat out the guy looks like Vince Neil does now, and that's not a comparison you want to have made to you.
No, definitely not.
So. Like I said, I'm not here to body shame, but it is notably different. Like, he is noticeably different shape than what he was. Good, bad, or indifferent. So, is what it was.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
a
been
lot of people like roasted him and stuff. And did he started commenting back at people? Is that what you were kind of saying?
He did clap back a little bit, basically just said, "I'm still in better shape than most of you could be," which is probably honestly the truth.
In a lot of senses, yeah, he's not wrong. He's getting paid, like you said, an F ton of
Yeah, I
money to be
mean,
doing what he's doing. So,
like it's not a like I said, it's not a knock against the guy specifically. More just man, he just looks a little rough.
which is
So I
sad
mean,
because he's a great man. He's one of my favorites.
he's in terms of being a wrestler, in terms of being a wrestling personality, not in terms of being a person, but in personality, he's one of the best of all time. I mean, he is in that short list conversation for best full stop wrestlers ever. And it's well
Absolutely.
deserved and well earned. But that doesn't also protect you from criticism either. So
Sure, and I mean it's gonna happen. It's happened to every wrestler, and you know what? I think there are very few wrestlers in our lifetime we have seen leave on top and stay gone. I think
right.
Punk is like the example because look
True.
at it. I mean, look at it like really. You have guys like HBK who have kind of come out of retirement to do a match in Saudi Arabia and not stayed away, and Taker who's still doing things up and until
Right.
Survivor Series this year, and we have Sting is now in AEW doing stuff. So the inability to give up the game is something that's very real, but
I mean,
the
Darren Aronofsky won an Oscar because of that fact.
the
Simple
wrestler.
fact. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same vibe.
But to me, I guess the real thing I kind of that gets stuck in my brain is these wrestlers need, and it's been the theme like I feel fucking 3 weeks in a row here, but these wrestlers need protected from themselves in some way, and
To some degree, yeah.
at what point I mean good that they got the belt off Jericho. God, could you imagine if he still had the gold right now and looked like that? And had I
Yeah.
mean, and again, I'm not body shaming at all. I'm not
Like
trying.
it's
I'm just saying his regression and the noticeable change that's happened to him would not look good for the company. People
right.
would show concern. Now that the
The it,
belt's off of him,
yeah.
the weight's off of him.
It does bear saying that, especially in wrestling, because it is scripted. I mean, your body type and your athleticism is not going to determine the outcome of a match. We know this.
Sure.
People who are watching know this, but it does need to be said that PR and image is still a big part of it. Presentation, perception is still a big part of it. And you saw that with the new fans listening or coming in watching after the NBA game, because most of them were. I mean, I was reading tweets that were like, "Man, what's AEW? Why is Sting is still wrestling? Jericho's still wrestling? What is this?" Like people had no idea, not just that Jericho's was champion or whatever, but didn't even know what AEW was. Which I mean, the company's only been around a year and a half. Not surprising, but you still have to be cognizant of that and know that if people are seeing it for the first time, you need to have something that looks good.
Should have put the acclaimed Young Bucks match on first.
That could have been a main event, yeah, or that main event could have been on first. I honestly, you could have done the
And then put that
dark,
triple, the triple, the 6-man could have
the
been
six
your
man would
your
have been
closing match of the night. Would have been great.
the 6-man probably would have been actually. I would have recommended the 6-man as the match to start off the show.
That would have been amazing as
I
well.
think
The fucking
because then you could still have the Bucks as the main event too.
and Dark Order has some hot heat. They're a really great team. Kick the show off with them. Don't be afraid to
Right.
lead with Jungle Boy and them and Luchasaurus and get people to. Because I tell you what, if a first-time fan like these NBA folks were changing the channel, they're watching NBA, they're watching the Bulls get their ass absolutely stomped or whoever was playing at the time, and then the AEW comes on, and you see this fucking dinosaur guy and this real
Right.
attractive-looking Jungle Boy-looking dude. And this
Say
real tiny-
Luchasaurus is going to grab attention. Jungle Boy is going to grab attention based on the fact that he's our age or younger.
The entire Dark Order, dude.
Yeah. Marco Stunt is going to draw attention because he's Marco Stunt.
But dude, I mean, and like I said with the
And
with
you
the-
finish they finish it with the FTR angle too, and that's drawing people in as well.
So they had tools in their belt to play with, but for some reason, this most recent episode of Dynamite, they did not. Maybe I always say this with AEW, They think a little further ahead than 1 week at a time. So sometimes they make these decisions and choices, not necessarily to even care. Like, okay, we're going to get more people that watch after the NBA. So fucking what? We know what we're doing. We have to keep doing what we're doing and keep telling these stories. And these are how we have to tell it, to
I do think
protect our talent.
there's also the idea they know their audience a little more. They are not.
Yes.
AEW doesn't go for the casual new viewers that WWE does.
Not at all.
They're more, warts and all, they are catering more towards an established crowd of wrestling fans. I mean, they'll get the casual viewers just by default as they come in, as long as the show is established. As the show goes on, they will bring in casual viewers for stuff like last night or Wednesday night. However, I think their priority has been to the established wrestling fans already. I do want to say that's not something, that problem of not leading with that best foot is not something also that is reserved just for AEW this week. Raw had the same problem. Raw opened the show with Charlotte Flair and Asuka and Shayna Baszler,
the
and
most
Nia Jax,
random fucking new tag team in the history of why are you doing this?
We'll get to the Charlotte thing in particular, but they led off the show with a Nia Jax promo.
Yeah, no, you're not going to really draw people in.
No, that whole segment was dog shit. And
lead with your best foot forward, man.
Yeah, they wonder why ratings are tanking, so they're not putting any thought into their product. It seems like, but. And there's a lot that's been going on, and it's only been because we recorded last Friday. No, we recorded last Wednesday. It was last Wednesday.
Yeah, we recorded it mostly on time last week. This week we're a little late. It is, like I said again, we are literally recording on Christmas. Yeah. It's going to come out the day after Christmas, so it's Saturday for those of you folks watching on the different places. Go ahead.
To be fair, life happens. We had Tuesday night
holiday. Bro.
Tuesday night I was in migraine hell. So I said, hey, do you mind if we push it off to Wednesday? And then we both forgot about Dynamite going on at 10.
I didn't even know. I did not forgot. I was not informed at all.
I forgot.
Okay.
And then last night we're getting into Christmas Eve. Now you got, family shit. We've all got family stuff going on. So here we are. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, holy shit. We made it. Like I said in the intro, man. Like,
look at you trying to get an episode title in early.
I'm not actually trying to, because I don't know if we should have another shit episode title like we're AEW, where we have to drop it in the title every couple weeks.
Dude, they're really trying with that.
It really, they do. They drop the word shit a lot, and it's just like, okay, we get it. You can say it, but where's like a damn it or a pissed off, or calling someone an asshole or an asshat, or whatever.
Part of the problem is that it's forced. Like that Jade Cargill's promo was really forced. Whereas someone like Eddie Kingston can let his shit roll off the lips without even thinking about it.
Yeah, Eddie's really good. He's a professional heel, let me tell you.
So I gotta ask,
sure,
what promotion do we want to start with? Because we got news in pretty much every aspect. We've got New Japan, we've got WWE, we've got AEW.
Okay, so we're on AEW right now. I think we should continue with AEW. I need to quickly just talk about, again, Kenny Omega's path to greatness. I think they have actually booked him into a really interesting position. And what I mean,
agree with that.
And what I mean by that is, okay, and we already saw this in AAA, okay?
I real quick, let me digress for 1 second.
Sure.
Just because you mentioned AAA.
Sure.
I watched that match just before we hit air tonight.
Okay.
Literally within the last hour. And great match. I'm not as high on it as I think you were, but mostly I'm just kind of coming to realize that there's only so much Kenny Omega I really enjoy. And when he gets really animated and really over the top, like with all the histrionics and everything,
sure,
he aggravates me. Like, and not in a heel way, but just like, dude, calm down, please. He looks like a cartoon. He looks like an anime villain.
Yeah.
And when he reins it in, he's great. And against somebody like Okada, which is what most of his notable stuff came against, he kind of dialed it back in, or it was played off as somebody who wasn't as over the top. AAA is,
and you kind of saw that same with Jericho and him as well.
Yeah, but AAA by definition is way over the top in general.
Absolutely.
So it was a little too much for me at times. Still a great match though. Laredo Kid is dynamite. The match had some great spots. I thought Laredo Kid was going to kill himself on that Asai moonsault.
The forklift spot?
No. He did a springboard moonsault off the like out to the rampway.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he was like
yes.
perfectly vertically up and down. I'm like, dude, if he wasn't there, you're coming down on your head.
Yeah.
That was cool. There were some really cool spots to it. I love the elevated One Winged Angel though. That's a cool finish. Really cool finish.
Absolutely. Could have went bad, but it went really well.
So yeah, sorry for digressing, but I had to jump in there when I could.
No, it's okay because it actually leads back to my point because you're just saying what I needed to say. Essentially, that they starting the story with Impact and really driving the story home with Impact, and they keep doing the whole belt collector thing with Impact, and then Kenny went to AAA. Had he lost that match, that whole idea is in an instant flushed down the toilet. Mm-hmm. So now what happens? One company has bought in and agreed. You guess that Impact's going to fall in line next. And then you know that's only a matter of time before a couple other companies that are working close with AEW get involved as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I keep coming back and forth on the Kenny thing, like the interpromotional thing, in that it's a really cool idea. And I think a lot of people are really excited about it, but they're not really following through on much of it. Like you would ask me during Dynamite if anybody had mentioned the Impact main event the Hard to Kill main event, and it never got brought up at all. Like nothing with Impact got brought up at all. The fact that he was on Impact never got brought up. The Mega Championship, the stuff with AAA never got brought up. All they were talking about was the match with Phoenix, was just specifically AEW stuff.
And maybe they're trying to just focus on this current match to get us to the end of the new year before they really cut loose with it.
I don't know.
I mean, because this is like the one unfinished, literally, if you look at the entire year in Kenny Omega's slate, this is the one unfinished business match that hasn't happened. So it like actually genuinely makes sense.
I'm just getting this kind of sneaking feeling that the angle with Impact and the whole idea of interpromotional thing was done from their standpoint just to pop a rating for Impact. Don Callis is leaving Impact and coming pretty much to AEW full time now. So he's popping a rating for them on the way out. They're kind of doing a favor for Impact. But it doesn't seem to me like they have a ton really, like they're really focusing on planning it out right. And that the fans are hyping it up because we want to see it. Like guys like you and I really want to see it. So we're reading into it a lot more than maybe what they had planned.
Well, I'm
really starting to get that vibe.
Let me tell you, because I think that actually maybe you just I don't know, but like what I was trying to tell you when we were texting is that when I was watching on Impact on Tuesday night, which now I've watched like 3 weeks however many weeks that's had the whole Kenny Omega story, I've now invested 3 consistent Twitch-filled weeks, as it were. But we get to the ad for AEW, the ad space that Tony Khan has paid for, and he's playing the soft cold heel, where he's kind of a bad guy, but he's also kind of the good guy,
Right.
And he says, "Look, tomorrow night on Dynamite, any of your wrestlers are welcome to come." And it's like this throwaway line maybe. But I asked if there was follow through because I thought, okay, maybe they're going to pay it off. And I think it's actually smarter if they don't. And let me tell you why. If right now they're sizzling the pot a little bit and they're just letting stuff simmer and not giving us immediately what we want, there's still buzz about it. There's still this what could happen? When's it going to happen? So then when there is the moment, and there's actual history that shows this can work for angles that maybe take a little bit longer to put together. Dolph Ziggler cashing in Money in the Bank is a prime example of the fans bought in over time because they started to actually find ways to invest back into this long form of telling this story with him. And I think that AEW could very well be doing this, where they're gonna do stuff like send Tony Khan over to do the ads with Tony Schiavone, and they're gonna have Kenny on their TV, and they're gonna want him to maybe even bring the AAA title with him to Hard to Kill and say, look, Rich Swann, I've got 2 of these, you only have 1, and I'm gonna take that one or whatever, you know. And then that leads us to where if the Good Brothers and Kenny win, you can't even question the fact that they're going to end up doing a bit on AEW because it's hot and it's history that's bigger than one company. Both promotions fit to benefit if the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows, go to AEW and reunite in a Bullet Club type manner. To have the Bucks and fucking those 2 on the screen at the same time reunited after this long crossing of the guard where they got picked up by WWE and took this one path that led to a lot of cool shit. Maybe not the greatest run in a tag team's history. And then the Bucks kind of fucking changed the whole game. And then we're back here in this like epicenter moment. It stands to get people talking about the product in a way that's bigger than just a promotion. And then when you add in your NWAs and your other companies that are going to buy into this idea, maybe the belt collector is a real thing we get over 2021 as long as he does not get injured.
Like, don't get me wrong, I want that to happen. I think that's the thing I keep kind of flipping around in my head is I really do want that. I'd love to see it, but I'm not sure how far they actually plan on taking it. And the fact that they're not really acknowledging it at all is what's making me wonder if maybe I'm reading more into it. The fans are reading more into it than what they have planned. We'll see. Ooh. I mean, we have no way of knowing.
I have a thought. What if, listen, AEW is like, sometimes they're very, very intelligent with how they plan things. Other times they're a little sloppy. We've seen it with Brandy. That's a very evident, like, oh, you can point and say that's sloppy as shit. But then you can also look at the Adam Page storyline and be like, look at what they're doing with that. It's so deep and thought-provoking. So they can do it, the time-taking stuff. But, like, maybe this is their way to swerve smart marks because if they don't mention it, if they take the heat off of it on AEW while keeping the foot on the gas on Impact, it gets the created tension of like, oh, they're not going to fucking do anything so that when they pay off, we pop even harder because we're
That's very true.
Oh, shit, they got me. I didn't think they were going to fucking get me, and here I am. I've been gotten.
That is very valid. I mean, don't worry, that is absolutely valid. Again, I'm really hoping that's what they do with it.
I've thought this out very thoroughly, my friend, very thoroughly.
The difference, I think we've established this through other conversations and other mediums. You have a lot more of an optimistic outlook on things than I do at times. That's part of that's my own issues. I'm a little more cynical at times about it. I
force optimism into the world, man. That's the optimism.
I can't argue with that.
You have to birth optimism, and it doesn't just happen. You got to just like, make it happen. So
I can't argue with that.
So man. But listen, I love wrestling, and that's something that, like, as a super fan of wrestling, as someone who is, listen, and maybe you don't know this, and this is something that the podcast has some evidence of. Kenny Jericho at WrestleKingdom a few years ago got me invested in watching Kenny Omega matches. It got me watching consistently the New Japan product. It got me further invested into the Young Bucks being the elite. You know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like this personal like appreciation, I guess you should say, for Kenny because he's kind of who drew me back in because I heard a lot about him. You hear the 6-star match and Okada and all this shit and you're like, what's up? And then my dude, Jericho, my favorite, the guy who the fucking belt's on the wall right over there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a big deal. So right now it's like my hope is that as a super fan, I can just channel this energy. Listen, I did it with Dr. Doom. God damn it. I can do it with fucking Kenny Omega. It's not that hard. I'm blown away by it. Let me tell you what. I'll tell you here because I'm not going to say this on JIC because it's just too convoluted. But quickly on a JIC before this past week, like months, maybe even a couple years ago, I fantasy cast the actual 4 members of the Fantastic Four, right? You have Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and the Thing. And I said, John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic, Emily Blunt as Invisible Woman, their real life husband and wife, awesome. I said Zac Efron as Human Torch because he's kind of that douchey bro look, Johnny Storm.
I could dig that, yeah.
And then John Cena as Ben Grimm, the Thing. Okay,
I'm not mad at that at all.
Okay,
yeah.
It's a great casting, right? So, color me surprised when two things happened this past episode of JIC. I totally, at minute 46, go watch it yourselves, folks. This was on Sunday, so you can go on your fucking Google and search this after what I say, and you'll know that I'm not lying. At 46 minutes into the episode, I literally said Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad and Mandalorian should totally be Dr. Doom. And then all these fucking things happened. Like days later, all of this news broke that like it's possible. They might even have had talks. Like it's fucking crazy. Now there's Vegas betting odds, and he's like the odds-on favorite to fucking win. But then I clicked on that fucking thing, and I said all that to say this. I clicked on that thing to then see number 1 for the Mr. Fantastic betting odds, John Krasinski. Number 1 for betting odds, Emily Blunt. Number 3 for betting odds for fucking Human Torch, Zac Efron. And number 4 for betting odds for The Thing, John fucking Cena. And I was like, God damn, man.
I have to ask. I know we're getting a little further away from the wrestling, but I have to ask, who are the other 3 for The Thing? The 3 above, remember?
Let me look.
Because I was actually I was thinking about this earlier myself. In that Krasinski was initially rumored for Captain America. A lot of people wanted him for Captain America.
Yeah, I think he even did a screen test for Cap.
I think that may be right. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to say that I'm one of the few kind of minority that I actually didn't mind the Michael Chiklis thing. Out of the rest of the movie, the script may have been terrible, but I didn't mind him as the Thing.
No, he wasn't terrible. No,
the costume maybe not so much, but the character wasn't bad. And really, I'd say that for pretty much everybody other than Jessica Alba and Dr. Doom.
Oh, damn.
But, okay, so let me hear it.
I found it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your story, bro.
No, you're good.
Such an asshole. Jesus, I hate myself. Okay, so some of these names I do know. Some of these names I don't know. So, Stephen Graham is the odds-on favorite to play the Thing. I don't know who that is. Followed by Dean Norris, who was in Breaking Bad to play the Thing. He was
he was the guy that looks like Michael Chiklis. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of his fucking name. Hank. He was Hank. Laz Alonso's on there. John Cena, as I said. Ricky Whittle, and then Letterkenny's Jared Kiso. I don't know.
I would not have tagged any of those other than Cena, maybe.
Journey into crossover here.
Yeah, no kidding. Journey
Anyways,
into
back to wrestling.
We had Cena. We had Cena as the through line. It's okay.
Yeah, that was actually kind of the point of that, is that I fan cast John Cena, who is Peacemaker, who maybe could cross over because of James Gunn into the MCU. Just saying it's possible. And then I did fantasy cast Giancarlo Esposito as Dr. Doom, and then I just want Kenny Omega to win all the belts.
Sorry, I just had the fleeting thought of, oh man, can we get an amalgam universe, cinematic universe?
You know what? Maybe there is a future where that could happen. Yeah, man, the amalgam comics. Yeah,
well, because not only you would have to. We're gonna get back to wrestling. It's okay. No, it's okay. No, you'd have to cross over Marvel and DC, and Disney and Sony and Fox and whatever else. It's like you're playing with a lot of people's money there.
Sure, and if the script was good enough, man, just saying, people would buy into it. Anyways, back to wrestling. I want to talk about Kenny Two Belts, because he is not the only champ with 2 belts right now. On the other side of the pond, we got Jay White, who is Mr. Two Belts.
Do you want to stay with Impact, or do you want to stay with AEW? Or do you want to go to New Japan?
Well, I want to kind of double cross over into it. This is where we're going to kind of bridge the gap just a little bit, because I want to quickly talk about the Jay White thing. He is now your IWGP Intercontinental champ and then world champ, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No.
What?
No.
What did he win? I saw him with 2 belts. What are those 2 belts?
Dude, WrestleKingdom's not until next week.
Did somebody fantasy post this picture?
Yeah, I think he's...
These fucking dicks got me?
Yes, they trolled you here. No, let's just jump in real quick to the match card. It's 2 nights again, and what you're seeing, the Naito still has both belts.
Sure.
Naito still has the Intercontinental belt and the heavyweight belt.
Sure.
Kota Ibushi won the G1 this year again, back to back, and then turned around and lost the briefcase to Jay White. So Naito came back and then challenged Ibushi and said, "No, I still want to fight you." So what they're doing is Naito versus Ibushi on night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom. That's your main event. The winner goes on to face Jay White for night 2 main event. So Jay White gets a shot at winning both belts. Doesn't have it won yet.
Ooh, but then they make something interesting happen, because do you see the path I see?
I don't know.
Well, think about it. You've got Kota Ibushi, who could actually become a transitional champion and literally get the title and then lose the title, and it actually fit the story they're telling, because he lost the briefcase to Jay, and now he's lost the title to Jay, and he just has this like mental block he can't beat Jay White, which can maybe be their big story going into 2021.
It could be, but I'm also going to say something that is going to blow your mind a little more.
Okay.
And I think you'll like more, is that, let's say Ibushi beats Naito for both belts in night 1.
Okay.
Then beats Jay White night 2. So Kota comes out with both belts.
Okay.
Who do we know that likes people with multiple belts and has a little personal relationship with Kota Ibushi?
I wonder if there was a tag team that ever existed.
Yeah.
With he and some other double belt carrying champion motherfucker. Yeah. So then you have led me back to that path of they could be literally making a storyline of, I've got 2 belts, you got 2 belts, who's the best bitch? And maybe say, listen, we'll do this. We'll literally, just for the, because Kenny is an executive, so he can tell the story how he wants. I'll put the AEW title on the line. You'll put because I was a champ before you ever were, New Japan title on the line. And then he beats him because, of course, storyline, and people are not ready for the crossover.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
I sent you the picture of Thanos Omega.
I know.
Thanos.
Because I sent you a comment back about about some of the other belts. So the rest of the card for Wrestle Kingdom, really quickly. Night 1, you have Naito as your main event. You have Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay, who turned his back on Chaos and started his own faction, the Empire. So Okada versus Will Ospreay should be a great match.
Cool.
You have Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Great Okan, who is also a part of the Empire faction. You have Kenta versus Satoshi Kojima for the IWGP, or the briefcase for the IWGP US title, which is still being held by Moxley.
Cool.
It was supposed to be Juice Robinson, but he had to bow out due to injury, so Kojima is taking over for him. You have Guerrillas of Destiny versus Dangerous Tekkers, which is Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP tag titles. Night 1, you also have Hiromu Takahashi, fresh off of winning the Best Super Juniors, versus ELP, El Phantasmo. And then the quote-unquote New Japan Rambo, which is the New Japan Rumble now.
Okay, cool.
They're going to do a Rumble-style match where staggered entry elimination is top rope, pin, or submission.
That's different.
They're not going down to the final person. They're going down to the final 4. Because the next night, I believe, the next night, on night 2, they're going to have a 4-way match for the winner. So night 2 is the Rumble Fatal 4-way. The winner is the provisional New Japan Cup champion, which is kind of, that's a new title that's been introduced this year. Currently, I do believe, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Toru Yano is the current title holder. Basically, that belt can change hands in any match that has a stipulation to it. It's like a body slam challenge is how Toru Yano won it.
Okay.
But the winner of the 4-way becomes the new champion for this year.
Cool.
You also have a Stardom is getting an exhibition match, which is cool. like last year, second year in a row. Probably going to be a dark match, but still pretty cool that they're getting one. But you also have the winner of the Hiromu ELP match is going to fight Taiji Ishimori for the junior heavyweight title. Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb for the open weight title, which I am stoked for.
That's going to be a hell of a match.
Sonata versus Evil in a battle of two tag teammates fighting. And then the final match will be Jay White versus the Night 1 main event winner.
Damn.
So that is January 4th and 5th. Both nights should be awesome. I'm going to try to get as much watching of that in as I can. I'll be back in working at that point, but I'll still try to watch as much as I can because I'm, a masochist, but we'll do that. Wrestle Kingdom rarely disappoints. This is their second year doing the 2-night extravaganza. So far, so good. It worked out really well for them. So hopefully it continues doing well.
All right, so let's snap back to reality as we do and jump backwards to AEW for a minute to just talk about the Acclaimed Bucks match, because my biggest disappointment, like I said, and I just want to mention it again, was that they didn't pay it off. But again, the more I thought about it, the more I'm actually kind of okay with it. Because again, Impact is starting to kind of build momentum. I think Hard to Kill is going to be their real turning point. I know that's kind of counterintuitive because they have a pay-per-view called Turning Point, but you know what I'm saying. It's going to be their best foot forward, and I think you have an opportunity to see really two different style workers in Kenny and Rich Swann have something special inside of a match where they're both protected with the tag teams able to take the pin. So you can have somebody like Chris Sabin or even Doc Gallows take the pinfall in the match, which I think it's probably going to be more likely Chris Sabin or Alex Shelley to take the pinfall. And then you have, more heat on Kenny and co.
I feel pretty confident in saying that match, the ending's probably a foregone conclusion. I get, in order to continue the storyline, the Bullet Club trio probably has to win. And that gets us to the Omega Swan title match if they have one. That's your way into it.
Well, and then that, or because Rich doesn't defend it at Hard to Kill, at the next Impact he'll be like, I'll accept any challengers, and Kenny will come out, and it'll be like a holy shit moment. And then instead of saying we're gonna do it right here tonight and it's gonna be a big thing, but no, we're gonna save it, and then they could do it for the next pay-per-view. So then you do have the build-up that you can actually draw on.
Or you could do it at Revolution.
Oh, come fucking into my house and fight. I love that. And tell him, too, be like, look, I'll even put, and I think Kenny should totally do this. If he's going to continue to challenge him and call himself the belt collector, he should consider putting up the AEW title anytime he's trying to win another title, just to, really solidify it.
Yeah, the only problem is that you run into some real weird, how do you protect both people in a loss? Because Impact's not going to want to lose their main title either. Even if it's a short-term thing, that's still, it's weird. They have to end up getting it back at some point.
Well, yeah, but no, not necessarily, because again, we're looking territory style, dude, and the way, especially think about now with COVID times and the limited amount of time you can be wrestling and doing things. Kenny can jump from wherever. I mean, where Impact? Correct me if I'm wrong. Impact is in Nashville, in Tennessee.
I honestly have no clue.
I'll be honest. R&D department should look that up.
I do believe they are. I do believe they are still in Nashville.
So think about it. You've got Nashville, Atlanta, and then Jacksonville, all within an hour and a half flight of each other. Kenny can do multiple things in a day, and he can pre-record Impact shit on a Thursday after he's done his stuff on Dynamite on Wednesday live. So there are so many options for him to be able to continue the story and be able to play a double champion or even a triple champion if Triple Yaya gets more into it,
So my question here, and I've kind of wondered about this a little bit. Again, you can't really have you can play up the territories thing, which is great, but in terms of, okay, let's say Swan loses the title to Omega.
Sure.
How long is Impact going to go without their main title on the show? Unless Kenny's doing double duty. Which
that's what I'm saying. He could easily do double duty and just be a real brooding asshole champion, especially with how Impact is filmed. Listen, you could literally have Kenny do 3 weeks of promos in an hour and have them filmed and cut in such a way where it would seem like he's live every fucking week, and you wouldn't know the difference.
It's true. Here's the other thing is that eventually, some point, somehow, again, Impact's not going to sit with its title held on AEW full time. So eventually somebody has to beat Kenny for that belt again.
And I'm sure that can be built into the story as well.
Right. It's now you're relying, Impact's booking has to rely on how long AEW is going to want Kenny to be undefeated.
Well, yeah. Or there are also ways where tomfoolery and shenanigans causing Kenny to lose the title or not to win a title is a way to protect him, because it's like, oh, he's definitely going to beat Rich Swann, but then out came fucking Alex Shelley with a cattle prod and hit him in the nipple, Goldberg.
So the one thing I would kind of caution against, the thinking of territories is great, and then really a style like the territories is kind of what they're going for. However, the territories weren't all televised. You didn't have everybody watching all the territories at once.
Sure. But I think that's going to be what's the draw.
Like, you didn't always have NWA's booking affecting Smoky Mountain Wrestling's booking. So you maybe had Flair come in and win a title and then drop it 2 nights later because that program was over, and then just go back to being a champion someplace else. Now you have people that are going to follow you from territory to territory. That becomes one big story with a lot of moving pieces and a lot of moving people. So it just depends on how much depends on how much Impact's willing to give if they let their main title holder fly the coop for a little bit.
Yeah, and do you know what that's going to cause?
It causes interest. It does. It absolutely does. It also causes a lot of creative headaches too. So I don't think it's not going to happen. I'm just saying there's a lot of give and take that has to go into it.
And I think that you're going to see that and I said this earlier, and I'll say it again, that, in order to take down the machine that is WWE, proverbially speaking, all these little guys have to band together in such a manner that they can all benefit. And if the story's creative, and if you've got a bunch of pissed off dudes against Kenny Omega, like, there are so many things you could do. Oh, is Abby making an appearance on the podcast?
She actually I have a chair that actually supports her for a change.
Oh.
She's not really a fan of sitting up here in the chair, but hey.
Hi,
Merry Christmas.
Abs.
Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Literally. She's not filthy. She had a bath.
Oh, there you go.
All right, putting you down. So she was sitting here licking my hands. I'm like, I'm going to snag you while I got a chance.
There you go. But, no, I just think that, this is wrestling against the machine, as it were, and you've got an opportunity to make all these little guys shine. And how fucking cool, man, would it be if right after, let's say, Kenny beats Rich Swann for that title, the very next week he shows up at NWA saying, well, you know what's coming, Aldis. It's only a matter of time. Look, I have not one. You
are not going to stop until you get the NWA crossover.
Oh, dude, it's happened.
I know.
So, and I mean, you have a current AEW talent who's their champ, if I'm not mistaken, right? Serena Deeb's assigned AEW talent.
I know. I'm more just chuckling at the fact you are the wrestling epitome of hope springing eternal, my friend.
Hey, man. I'm not.
I am mad at you. I'm mad at you at all. Like you said, I want that to happen.
I think it would be. I think it would be provocative television that would really drive people into the product further, and bringing fans. And I think bringing those fans of all these indies together to say, look, we can all work together and have this interesting plane to play on that can be our own turf that WWE can't come and shit on. Like, that's a huge freedom that allows networks to go, man, maybe we should just. Like, when is a literal all-wrestling network going to happen that picks up all these little promotions and say, listen, primetime TV, tune into AWN, the All-Wrestling Network, where you can see your AEW, your Impacts, your NWAs, your New Japans, your GCWs, your Defy Wrestlings, your fucking, Beyonds and BLPs, and you can have specials ran. Because, look, you're a fan of wrestling. I'm a fan of wrestling. There's a huge love and appreciation for wrestling. My dude, Javi, that I work with at my job, he's a huge wrestling fan and, like, really loves it and stuff, and we get to have amazing conversations and whatnot about it. But, like, the culture is so rich that I'm surprised a national network has not been created that literally just celebrates wrestling.
Money. It all comes down to money.
Well,
all comes down to money. Because the one thing that each of these networks have that guys like Turner and things like Anthem, who owns Impact, things they all don't like sharing is money. They don't mind sharing talent. They don't mind sharing stories. They don't like sharing revenue.
that's true.
And that's why even if you do find an all wrestling, a wrestling Netflix, as it will,
WrestleFlix.
You will never see WWE on it.
Well, of course you wouldn't, and that's kind of the point. I don't want you to see them on it. I want you to go, yeah, of course they're not on it. Those fucks, they obviously don't want to be involved in this cool, thing. But I feel like, again, we're in this really cool, glorious moment in wrestling where there's so many cool things we get to even talk about. Like,
right.
2 years ago, if you would have been like, hey, there's possibly going to be a new promotion that crosses over with Impact and makes Impact even more prevalent and, like, things that Impact have been looking up, I'm interested in seeing what happens to Impact after Callis steps away, because that is a talent hole that we have seen filled well or seen filled terribly. And the literal entire weight of the company hinges on the person that gets picked for that role.
That's
so,
true.
What happens? Who goes there? Maybe Bischoff?
I think Bischoff's out of it.
I know. He's into podcasting. He's kind of a recluse. He doesn't like leaving his house. I get it.
Well, not only that, but I think his experience with WWE has probably soured him a little bit more on it. Like, I've read an interview with him recently where he was not really thrilled with how things went there.
Oh, you mean getting announced to be a general manager of a show and being fired before you ever get seated as general manager of said show?
Well, he was never considered general manager. He was just like creative head or something. Showrunner of some sort, but was never given any kind of creative freedom to do anything. So, like, he even made the comment that, yeah, this wasn't what I wanted it to be or what I thought it was going to be or what I was even told it was going to be. So, yeah, it just wasn't a good fit. Damn. So, the phrase wasn't a good fit is a good way in business speak to not burn bridges, but not still say, I don't like it here.
I will say somebody burned the fuck out of a bridge again. Mr. Punk, he does not give a fuck about WWE, bro. He legitimately... No. He he might have played nice for the Fox show, but he does not like them, and he does not have fear of letting people know that. And he's actually he's one of their banned people again, man. It's like,
can you blame him for not being a fan though?
No, I can't blame him.
Based on the way he claims they treated him, but
totally. Obviously, the story is awful and everything. It's just it's an interesting situation where if you were WWE, don't you want to make nice with everybody so that they can't go army against you? Because Punk going to one of these promotions to finish his career out and live his sunset days, if ever happens, like,
they don't care. If you're WWE, no, they don't care.
CM Punk is still the most talked about wrestler in the entire business.
WWE just had their most profitable year in history, with the lowest ratings and all, with low ratings, with a speaking out movement against their wrestlers, with association with Saudi Arabia. They don't.
But a lot of that money they made was from Saudi Arabia, right? Their boosted revenue was from that deal.
They made a shitload of money because of Saudi Arabia. They made a shitload of money because of the deal with Fox. But again, that deal with Fox was made with them having ratings in the toilet and all that shit. They're making money hand over fist, and they could give a shit less what happens. That's why, full stop. The reason you don't see any improvement in WWE is because they have no reason to improve.
So let me ask you this question then. Do you think I was pausing for, like, dramatic effect there, sorry, but like but do you think we will see the hard left turn that these networks want out of WWE? And you'll be able to actually say and maybe talk on this a little bit more because you've seen the product more recently than I have, because I didn't see TLC. Are they already in the process of doing that hard turn into the more adult content again?
No, I don't think so at all. I WWE will not. They have always shown a willingness to do shock things for shock reasons to try to grab attention. They still like getting ratings. They still like getting pops, but that doesn't mean they're going to change their format or their system up. The closest you got was actually the absolute opposite way in going PG back in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
and that made them a shitload of money. So the networks may say, well, we want better ratings, and WWE can say, well, we're giving you consistent ratings. They may not be the greatest, but they're consistent every weekend. And until USA can request all they want for dramatic content, for adult content, for whatever, and maybe USA is getting a little leery of the fact that TNT is doing better with AEW. They care more about ratings than WWE does. But until, and we've seen it before with other promotions or other sponsors or other entities that have dealt with WWE, until money is involved, WWE does not give a shit.
sure.
The Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal was the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal until Snickers decided to pull funding.
Yep.
Until USA says, well, change your programming or we're not going to re-up with you. No, WWE won't change anything. Until Fox tells them, hey, we want different content or we're not going to give you $2 more billion. No, they're not going to change anything. And
That's a spice of money.
And the idea that Vince McMahon, who, let's face it, anything that gets changed is going through Vince. Until he decides that he wants to change something, no, nothing will change.
Yeah, you're right.
So they, in my mind, the whole idea of AEW as competition for WWE, it's only competition in AEW's mind. And that's good. It's good that it's competition in AEW's mind. It's probably competition in terms of the talent's mind. They want to outperform, and that's great.
So what do you make of talent claiming that consistently at NXT they have AEW programming on?
That's Triple H, not Vince.
Okay, well, fair.
That's Triple H running the show, not Vince. Triple H, who is more competitively minded.
Sure, and he's the guy that's going to be taking over. Triple
H wants to compete and have healthy competition. Vince wants to go in and break you. Vince wants to fucking Ivan Drago you. But the fact still is that until they have significant reason to change, competition is not reason to change. If they were, I mean, you could say if they were consistently losing to AEW, well, they are. They have.
Yeah, they look like ass.
And they've not. Yeah, and nothing's changed. You get arguments. You may have an argument from USA, but again, until show me the money, show me the argument, then they're not going to change anything. And WWE will continue to call their bluff and say, hey, we've done this for you for X amount of years, and you've never complained before.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's just, I feel like WWE needs a swift. It's like this, and it's just a fact. WWE is like the sleeping giant. They have the tools, they have the money, they have the skills. They are complacent right now. They are lazy.
Yeah,
they don't care. And listen, if I was so we're just gonna fantasy draft this moment, and I'm sitting here and I'm, blitzed out of my mind, and my phone rings, and it's a fucking number from Connecticut that I don't know, and
my lighting just went out.
Yeah,
my brand new lighting rig. Apparently, a selfie ring is not meant to sustain for a 45-minute long selfie. Apparently.
Damn. Okay, well, you still look all right. You still look all right.
Much for it.
Yeah, your screen is keeping you illuminated nicely, so don't worry about it.
It's the kitchen behind me, actually.
Oh, wow.
That's why it's coming from an angle.
Fooled me. I couldn't tell, but
we'll keep experimenting. We'll figure that shit out.
But so there's a number from Connecticut calling me, and I'm stoned out of my mind, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta answer, and I actually pick up the unknown number, and I'm like, hello, and then on the other, hello, this is Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and god damn it, I need you.
First, you have to ask if you want McMahon's millions. You have to ask that by law.
And I'll be like, yeah, man, did I just win McMahon's millions? And he's like, you funny son of a bitch. We're going to figure it out, because maybe if you can solve my problem. So anyways, he gives me an opportunity. He says, what would you do different? how would you improve WWE as a whole? Not just on a storyline basis. I don't want you to come in here and tell me what stories to tell because I want to be able to play in my sandbox. But from a viewer's perspective, what fucking sucks that needs to change? Here's some of my biggest pet peeves with WWE product. And this is obviously subjective too because right now we're in COVID time. So hopefully when we're on the other side of this changes and allows them to go back to this ideology. But when I was a kid, one thing that like literally I was like a kid in a candy store. Every fucking weekend there was a pay-per-view to find out, to see if I could look on the internet when that was a thing that was an available option, if I could see pictures of the sets of the pay-per-view because they were always so unique and different and fucking wild, and there was a fucking electric chair at Judgment Day, or there was a fist for fucking SmackDown, and all these great... Backlash had the fucking swinging scythes. Like, Jesus Christ, man, they were cool.
Yeah.
Where is that? It's not here. It's pissing me off. That's what I tell Vince. I would be like, dude,
you're 100% right.
Your product is lame because you stopped trying and putting in the little efforts. It's the small stuff, man.
You want to talk about small stuff? Fix the sets. Make your sets different. Stop scripting your promos.
Exactly.
Let your wrestlers be their wrestlers. Allow them to fuck up.
And if they flounder, then that is not someone who is not meant to be the top talent. Let that be a learning.
Well, not even that, but if they flounder, then maybe it actually sounds like they're naturally talking.
There you go. More human, more personal connection.
Right. Stop scripting and micromanaging everything down to the letter. Get some better music because your music sucks.
Overall plans that are more than a day in advance.
Yeah, that's. I'm looking little things first.
Sure.
Get your music better because the current music you have is terrible.
Get rid of most of your titles and try again.
I wouldn't even say that. I'm looking again, little things first.
Okay.
Give me actual videos for people's entrances again, instead of having just a name and a font that just cycles back and forth. Give me an actual old school video. I used to love watching the Titantron videos. They were unique. They had different style.
Or when you had a moment where like some of the wrestlers, their entrance was infused with the Titantron footage. So you would see like DX kicking ass and shit. And then it would go back to them going to the ring and shit. It was like,
So here's a good example. Carmella right now, her new character. They had this weird Tron video of her like dancing behind it's like her face behind a chain link fence, which has no connection whatsoever. Yeah. And then they do the big sheet, like the air balloon, like a white sheet with her supposedly dancing behind it. But then you realize that, the dancing image is facing that direction. And when it drops, she's facing this direction. So clearly not the same person. It's clearly photoshopped or edited. But then when she walks down the ramp, her Tron video is just her name. So it's completely disconnected from everything else. Most of the time, if you look at a Tron video for anybody right now, it's a logo or it's their name. That's it. That's all it is. And some different color scheme behind it, maybe an animation. That's it. It feels like a slideshow. Pyro coming back is a big idea. That's helpful.
Yep.
What it does for AEW. Look at the Bucks entrance.
Yes.
It's cool. Yeah, it's different.
Unique. It sticks out.
And if you want to go a little further macro, looking at bigger things, make your shows different. I actually was thinking about this yesterday. There was an article from Cage Side about KO, Kevin Owens, talking about how he wants NXT to be viewed as a third brand, as a legitimate third brand. And I'm going, you know what? No, because then you lose what makes it individual.
Yeah, you lose its originality.
What's the difference between Raw and SmackDown?
The color.
Rosters? The color, the length of time, and the roster. That's it. Everything else is the exact same. There's no difference. It's all one big show. And there's no reason to care about one or the other, or no reason to, other than roster, to say, hey, I'm excited for this show. Why don't we change up the way the backstage interviews are done? Impacts are actually really interesting. the way they kind of do it off the cuff, looking like found footage, or it's actually cinematically trailing around, following behind people backstage, rather than the same interviews that WWE's been trotting out since 1985.
And we're cut to the screen where he's in front of the screen and I'm here with Johnny B. Fuck off.
Right. How about you show me some wrestlers who are watching television in a manner that humans actually watch television? No, we're going to stand them off to the side where they're looking out the side of their eye, because you have to have the screen on camera too. Why don't we have matches that actually follow the rules?
Yes.
This past week on Raw was one of the worst finishes to a show I've ever seen. It was a we're all over the place in this episode. We're jumping.
Hey, we're live, pal.
We're all over the place. But the finish to Raw this week was a six-man tag team street fight.
How do you tag team a street fight?
You know, that would be something that would be nicely explained to us if they actually bothered to tell us. However, but here's what we got. They didn't give us any explanation whatsoever as to how the rules would change or what rules there were. What we got was a six-man tag match that followed with everybody following the rules. People tagged out. People were afraid of DQs.
In a street fight?
Yeah. No one interfered. No one, did anything. If you looked at Twitter during that show, and I was live tweeting this Raw, the 95% of the tweets about Raw were, do they know it's a street fight? Did they announce this? They announced this as a street fight, right? Why is there's stuff all over the sides of the ring? There's like cookies and Christmassy shit. And it out of a 20-minute long match, 5 minutes left in the show, somebody grabs a candy cane kendo stick and does some shit with it. But for 75% of that match, it was no different than any other six-man tag whatsoever.
That's awful.
And it was terrible. And it looked like the people involved in it, it was McIntyre, Keith Lee, and Sheamus versus AJ, Miz, and Morrison, I do believe. And none of them really looked like they knew what was going on. Like, Keith Lee was the one who got out and said, oh, yeah, I could do this, right? They're holding on to the tag rope, waiting for a legal tag. It's a street fight. Run in and punch him.
It's a street fight. Why are you standing on the apron? Go fight the dude across from you. Just get into war.
Right. And so it's endemic to me that the problem there isn't, I mean, this is obviously one match. It's a fuck up. This was a scripting issue. But why don't you actually follow through on what you're asking for us? Don't insult our intelligence. I made the comment on Twitter that WWE made a point at the very beginning of the Attitude Era. If you remember, there was a video of Vince McMahon before Raw one night saying, we're changing things up. We've been insulting your intelligence for too long, and we don't want to insult your intelligence, so we're changing things up. And that was kind of the birth of the Attitude Era.
I remember
they're
that.
They're no longer worried about insulting our intelligence. Their new
they
MO
enjoy it.
Well, no, their new MO is to just destroy our brain cells entirely beforehand, and that way it doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, that's true too.
There's too much dumb shit that goes on.
Hey, let me just ask this question: how can a wrestler commit murder on live national television? Can we just like sort of?
Well, I mean, did he commit murder because Bray Wyatt was tweeting less than 24 hours later?
Now I'm even more confused. I saw a crispy fire-eyed motherfucker.
And then Randy Orton. I mean, if you want to make the argument that they need to bring kayfabe back, that genie's out of the bottle. It ain't coming back, no matter what you, me, or anybody else says. Without short of rebranding the entire show and starting from scratch with Lucha Underground or something, they ain't bringing kayfabe back. However, they burned Bray Wyatt alive. We had capital murder, but it doesn't matter if it's a no DQ match.
I guess so.
If you want to kill someone, just make sure there's no disqualifications.
And make sure that you're a fan of The Mandalorian and hype it afterwards, too.
Yeah. TLC wasn't bad. That's the real kind of the whiplash effect of WWE is
sure.
TLC was pretty good. TLC was very fun. And then Raw, 24 hours later, was dog shit. was absolute dog shit. The TLC card, if you want to run down really quick. you have Drew McIntyre beating, spoiler alert, not just AJ Styles, but AJ and Miz, who cashed in his Money in the Bank contract mid-match, which I thought Miz was supposed to be a conniving, opportunistic heel.
Why mid-match?
Yeah, why mid-match? Why make it a legal thing? Why give yourself a chance to lose? So cognitive dissonance there. But Drew beat both of them, so that's done. You have the women's tag team match, in which we have this whole Lana storyline that we get dropped at the last second for, hey, Charlotte's back, and she won the title in her first match back because people didn't have enough of that before she left. And yeah, you remember when Shayna Baszler was a threat? Remember when she had this like 2-year-long reign of terror on NXT and was the most dominant champion they had?
Yeah, and then I remember when she came into the fucking, was that the Elimination Chamber?
And
she
and
fucking
ran the
ruled
table.
ass.
Fucking ran the table, yeah.
No, we called that episode Shayna Rules Ass.
Yeah.
Or Hungry Shayna Rules Ass was the episode title.
Yeah. But yeah, we remember that. WWE doesn't remember that because now Shayna's taking pins left and right. She got pinned by Lana twice, who's now squashed off the map. We have, in a very good match, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns was a great TLC match. I mean, again, no qualm, no jokes aside. That was a very good, very fun match. Go watch it.
Sweet.
You have Sasha retains against Carmella, so Carmella's nice rebranding is ruined by her losing clean.
Of course.
And then, then Orton commits murder. We have, to their credit, take a step back. Not to their credit, was they announced that it was a Firefly Inferno match less than a week before the match, so no promotion for it whatsoever. Just kind of got thrown out on Twitter after Raw had ended.
Just decided, let's spice it up a little bit, get more viewers.
Right. To their credit, the Inferno matches in the past have not been great because they're really kind of dumb. If you remember, the last Inferno match was the Wyatt family versus Undertaker, or Undertaker and Kane or something along those lines, where they actually had to throw a blanket over the fire to get somebody out of the ring. It was dumb. But because of the Thunderdome and the fact they have cinematic capabilities and pre-tape capabilities, they were able to pull this off in a convincing fashion. It was a cool show. It was a cool match. Cheesy, over the top, absolutely, but you expect that from an Inferno match.
Sure. You're burning a guy alive.
Yeah, but it was cleverly done, or at least the setup was cleverly done. The ring looked cool. Like they had fire everywhere. It wasn't just a little trough around the ring.
Cool.
They had fire all over the fucking place. And then, funny enough to me, again, bear in mind, they have these like flaming spiral things coming off of barricades everywhere. There's flames like in a trough all the way around the barricade. There's fire fucking everywhere. But then you have a spot where Bray or Randy is sitting in the rocking chair that's been doused in gasoline, and Bray does the whole trail of gasoline away from it. And despite fire being readily prevalent everywhere around you, pulls out a Zippo. Because how am I going to get fire without this? And then for later on, when Bray himself gets lit on fire off the barricade, that ends the match, even though we didn't get a bell or anything to say that the match was ended, because they never gave us any kind of rules up until right before the match started anyway. So Bray gets lit off the barricade, thrown into the ring. Orton goes and douses him in gasoline again, and then goes and grabs a book of matches. Because, again, we don't have enough fire already. We don't have ready sources of fire everywhere. Hell, Bray lit a fucking strap at one point, pulls a strap out from under the ring, lights it on fire off of one of the torches. Cool as shit.
Why
Great
did
idea.
You just do
Great
that?
use. Great use. So if you can do that, why do you need the book of matches? Also, first time, and this had nothing to do with anything fire related, but Bray used a fucking pickaxe as a weapon. Why do they have a pickaxe under the ring? Why is there a pickaxe under a wrestling ring?
Fucking thing.
I don't know. I have no answers. And quick diatribe. What's WWE's budget for kendo sticks? Why do they randomly have kendo sticks laying under the
I don't know,
ring
man. That's a great
at any
question.
given point in time? And how many are they allowed to buy? Because they're keeping. They seem like they're single-handedly keeping kendo stick companies afloat at this point. So yeah, but we end the night with Bray, or the dummy that we cut to that was Bray. I was watching it to see if that dummy was still breathing. I wanted to see if that was actually Bray in a fire suit or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's pre-taped, so no, that's a dummy, but fully lit on fire. And Orton poses and walks away, having committed capital murder. Something mentioned on Cage Side this year. How many deaths or attempted murders have we seen on WWE programming this year? We had 2 people get thrown off the fucking roof.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw John Cena? He disappeared. He was wiped out of existence. He was wiped out. AJ Styles got buried alive.
It's true.
That is at least 4 murders that we have seen this year.
Yeah, man.
Not counting the fact that Seth Rollins tried to put somebody's eye out. So, if they wanted adult content, we've already had it.
Yeah, in some ways, but it's still tame. I mean, there's still not the Attitude Era, and we're never going to get back to that with WWE. We have to be honest with ourselves. It's not ever going to come back unless a lot of things change, and that's not going to happen.
It's also not 1995. People's tastes change. Go back and watch some of the Attitude Era shit, and it's cringy as hell. You can put some rose-colored glasses on because we love The Rock, we love DX, we love Austin. The McMahon rivalry was fantastic. Mankind was great. Taker, Kane, great. Draws, no. Godfather, maybe not.
Prince Albert, no.
Prince Albert, no. Dog collar or dog kennel match.
Val Venus, no.
Choppy the pee-pee, no. Women, no. just full
blanket
full
statement, no.
Women, no. Tori Runnels,
double no.
Gold Dust and bondage gear, no. Luna Vachon, no, please. Yeah, it's not all good. The Headbangers, no. No. So, like, the idea of going back to the Attitude Era is something that people have said for years and years and years and years and years. And adult content's going to bring ratings back. It might. It may very well, but you're never going to get the Attitude Era again because we're not. People change. Your viewership has changed.
Yeah.
The people. When was the last time you saw people walking around in flannel and torn up jeans and kilts? Grunge isn't popular anymore, so maybe not so much. The Gen X, as it were, maybe not so much. What are we going to have? Degeneration Millennial? Is that what we're aiming for? Because you could argue that's retribution. Just throwing out there. So yeah, that was TLC. Raw, I don't feel compelled to touch on anymore. We didn't really finish up with AEW news, just to go back to it a little bit.
Sure.
Talked plenty much about Kenny. We mentioned Hungry Shayna. We have Hungry Abaddon. Now with more blood.
She's on fire with that shit.
But you know what? It's more believable when Abaddon does it than Shayna.
For real.
Because Shayna was a UFC fighter, not a fucking zombie. Abaddon is a zombie. And I fear for Hikaru Shida's life because she may already be a zombie. This is how things work. You mentioned the Acclaimed. We did have both Acclaimed and Top Flight on the same show. So new tag team spotlighted, new blood spotlighted. It's a very good thing.
Yes,
we have Inner Circle. We have Inner Circle drama in both expected and unexpected. Expected in we're going to get a hoss fight between Hager and Wardlow.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we get this really weird segment with MJF going to talk to Santana, and MJF being kind of bare heart and honestly open and not heelish and
pulled it back a little bit.
Not MJF at all.
Sure.
Very weird. So we have some Inner Circle drama. And then one thing that you may not have heard about yet. Have you heard about the injury?
No.
So we had the announcement from Kip and Miro about the wedding date. And they kind of trolled everybody because we were told to expect Best Friends to come out and interrupt the segment. They had teased that last week, and they kind of trolled the viewers by showing or kind of leading some. Oh man, best friends are coming out, and then you have Miro and Kip. No. We took care of that already. And then you see Trent getting loaded out in an ambulance, right? Come to find out, Trent went online later and said, "Hey, I have a torn pec and I'm out for a little bit of time."
Damn.
So you may have 2/3 of the best friends, the little-known Gentlemen's Club tag team from the Indies of Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, kind of handling some business for a little while.
I like that. Those two are still great as well. It sucks about Trent tearing his pec, though, man.
If that's true, if that's not kayfabed in any way, then yeah, he's going to be out for a couple months probably, if not longer, which sucks. Really does. Silver lining is that clearly AEW's got tag teams to step up. They have the opposite problem from WWE, where there are 2 tag teams in each division. AEW's got more tag teams than they know what to do with, which is great. It's wonderful.
It's bountiful.
I kind of wonder if I mentioned competition and what Vince thinks of AEW earlier. There's part of me that wonders if AEW's focus on tag team wrestling and bringing tag team wrestling back doesn't feed into Vince going, we'll do the opposite then.
Yeah.
That makes me wonder about it, honestly. Moving in real quick to NXT. Well, I do have one question very quickly regarding WWE programming, the main roster WWE. The Slammies were Wednesday morning. It was a thing that happened, and
Wednesday morning. Why?
They did it on the Bump show, their little social media show, which I don't care. No one cares about the Slammies anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I didn't even know they had a social media show, bro. Come on.
Yeah, they've done the Bump's been around for most of this year. I don't know half the people that are on it, but I do want to point out their other 2 shows, Talking Smack and Raw Talk, both still appointment viewing. They brought both of those back significantly.
Okay.
And I don't know if I got a chance. I don't think I sent it to you. I meant to. I don't know if I did. Prior to TLC on Friday night, after SmackDown, they had Talking Smack and KO, and God bless Kevin Owens for one. And this should tell you how good the segment is alone because the 2 people involved in it were Kevin Owens and Paul Heyman.
Ooh, okay.
Paul's been a fixture on these shows for the last couple of weeks. Just kind of not really co-hosting, but just being a presence on the show. And they ended SmackDown prior to TLC with Owens telling Reigns, "You're going to have to kill me. I'm gonna take back the title, or I'm gonna die trying." So go to Talking Smack. Heyman's already out there on commentary or at the table talking, and out comes KO, who's had his ass kicked, very recently. Within the last 20 minutes, had his ass handed to him. He just kind of staggers up, grabs a chair, and says, "Hey," looks at Caleb Braxton, who's running the show. And says, "I need a minute. Can you move away for just all due respect? He and I need to talk." And Owen sits down and says, "Paul, I respect you. I respect everything you've done. I respect everything you've done for this business. I need you to do something that's very hard for you to do. Shut up. Don't talk. Let me talk. Don't talk." And very calmly laid out everything, like just sold the match. If I can find that clip, I'll get it to you.
Please do.
It's excellent. It's a great promo. It's echoing back to the time when Miz and Daniel Bryan were on Talking Smack and they had full reign to do whatever the fuck they wanted to. That's the kind of stop scripting your promos. You'll get this, and it's wonderful. So yeah, I will find a way to link that to you.
Please do.
Going over to NXT really quickly. They had the very Gargano Christmas.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see? Have you seen any of NXT from this week?
No.
It was fun because
Okay.
it's the Gargano faction is now Johnny, Candice, Austin Theory, and Indy Hartwell, and they did this really super cheesy Christmas thing, like interspersed throughout the show. Johnny gave Theory the Gargano way, WHEY protein powder that he was just munching on throughout the show. Gargano had the camcorder out, was filming the whole thing like 1992.
That's kind of awesome. Okay.
Highlight of the show was that Indy Hartwell unwraps a PS5, and she goes, "It's empty. There's nothing in here." He goes, "No, the PS5 is mine." Gargano, no, the PS5 is mine. This is just for show. We are bestowing upon you as your gift the family nickname, and you are now known not just as Indy Hartwell, as Indie Wrestling. And Candice LeRae goes, "And we support indie wrestling." It was fantastic.
Damn.
The whole thing was so cheesy. Like Austin Theory was trying to eat cookies the entire time. They kept having to get after him. They're all wearing like matching pajamas. It was great.
I need links. You got to send me links to some of this shit. I want to see them.
I mean, that was just the whole. Go back and watch NXT from this week. That ran through the whole show.
Oh, I gotcha.
And it was a good show. There's a worthwhile show to watch. We also had Mercedes Martinez jumped Io Shirai.
Yeah, she returned.
In a very cool swerve, actually, because you had Toni Storm threatening Io at first. And then when Io comes out and says, "Hit my music," and she goes out to the ring and is waiting and calls out Toni Storm, gets jumped from behind by Mercedes Martinez, completely out of nowhere. So really
Sweet.
cool moment.
Yeah, I know you're big on Mercedes.
Extremely, yes. Great stuff. Mercedes and Io Shirai should be a fucking match of the year quality match whenever that happens. I am here for it. But they're building up to their New Year's Evil, which is next week. And they're loading that card up. Like, I'm going to struggle to find a reason to watch AEW over NXT next week.
Damn.
I don't
know that you've said that since we've had AEW programming.
Confirmed matches for New Year's Evil so far. Last woman standing match between Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley. Last woman standing.
Okay. Awesome. Here for it.
Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor for the title.
Here for it. Any stipulation or is it just a match?
Straight up match.
Okay.
Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher in the fight pit.
Ooh, that's interesting.
It's only the second fight pit match they've had. And that's built up as Thatcher's domain. I'm here for that too. I love both of them. I love the fight pit idea.
This is their second match on a major takeover, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not even a takeover. This is a regular show.
Well, yeah, but it's takeover level quality booking.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of effort into making this look like a takeover, which is cool. The only thing really holding it back to me is probably going to be the commercial breaks, like we've talked about before. They're also teasing. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but Damian Priest and Karrion Kross.
Ooh.
And we have Gargano is going to have to defend his title against Leon Ruff again. I don't know if that's going to be next week or not, but it should be.
Shit, that is a stacked card.
That's a stacked ass card. NXT again. We don't talk about it quite as much. I don't watch NXT live because I'm watching AEW, and it's difficult to watch it after the fact. For me, I struggle with watching streaming stuff anyway. I'm bad at TV. We've talked about this in private before, but going back and trying to watch NXT when you've already seen spoilers for it, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, because you know what's coming.
And the quality of matches gets broken up by the commercial breaks, just like we have at AEW as well. It's the one bugaboo that they're really going to have to fight no matter what promotion you're in. But NXT is still every bit as consistent as they always have been. The talent level is right there. They're bringing in new talent all the time. They re-debuted Bronson Reed, who is going to probably be getting a big push. There's all kinds of really cool stuff. I guess I think Loomis is hosting New Year's Evil, which will be fun.
Nice.
So yeah, there's a lot going on for NXT that's worthwhile. They still haven't finished really the Shotzi Blackheart Candice LeRae feud. Really hasn't ended, I guess. Their women's division's still second to none. Their tag division's kind of lacking, but they're trying to make up for it. It's all good. It's all been good. Tonight, you may know, we're actually recording this while SmackDown's airing. SmackDown is pre-taped because it is Christmas, and WWE may be Heartless Monsters, but that apparently not on Christmas. They can support an Iranian journalist getting butchered, but they will not support having wrestlers work on Christmas.
They got to keep up an appearance, bro.
So I haven't seen the show, but we do know, spoiler alert, Big E wins the Intercontinental title off of Sami Zayn in a lumberjack match, and Kevin Owens loses in a cage match for the title to Reigns again. So we do know what has happened. I'm going to go back and watch it after the fact, but that's why we're not talking about it right now. That's why we're airing when we are.
Correctamundo.
So that's, as far as headlines, that's all I've got. We've been all over the place in terms of headlines, in terms of everything else.
Yeah, we've pretty much covered it all, man. It's honestly, we are again in a sweet spot of wrestling. It's really interesting the holiday season a lot of times because you do have wrestling taking time off, getting away from normal stuff, a lot of pre-tape things. This is the first pre-tape SmackDown since I think like early May, I want to say, when
Something
we were
like that.
still in really heavy COVID. I mean, we're obviously in the worst of the COVID times now, but just, saying that when we were really heavily guarded as a people was the last time they did the pre-tapes. So it's interesting to get back to that a little bit.
And even this time of year is when indie wrestling kind of takes a little bit of a downturn normally. So they're even in the worst downturn right now. But even this time of year, normally indie wrestling is kind of taking a back burner for a little bit.
Absolutely.
I do want to give a little shout out for next week's show.
Sure.
We are going to be doing the year-end awards next week. I get the feeling that's probably going to take up most of the show. Did last year at least.
Oh, it is.
So I did want to kind of jump into something really quickly about next week's show. And for anybody that's listening, I want to give out the categories ahead of time.
Sure.
Like what our categories. This is using last year with a couple added on.
Sure.
So if you want to, we'll give you the categories. Give us your submissions. Send them to me on Facebook. Send them to us on Twitter. Join in the conversation.
Buckles will most likely on Twitter tweet the categories and have you guys say what you think should win. And maybe we can, put
compare and contrast.
Well, not only that, we can shout these people out and say who their picks are on the episode and give them some love.
Definitely.
Maybe they have a podcast they run or some shit.
Definitely. So we have categories: best comedy match, best comedy moment.
Okay.
Like would be the comedy match versus comedy moment being something that happened outside the ring or something like that.
Sure.
Best angle, worst angle.
Sure.
Best promo, most improved.
Sure.
Best promotion overall. Best tag team. One thing I'm splitting up, best OMG moment, which would be the most, oh my God, what's going on? And the most WTF moment, which, what the fuck is going on? A little bit of positive versus negative.
Sure.
The spot of the year. We have falling star and rising star, both in male and female. So one category for falling star, one category each for best female rising star, best male rising star, female star of the year, male star of the year, match of the year is the big one. And then for 2020, cinematic match of the year.
Ooh, I love it. There were several cinematic matches.
So again, join in. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your picks would be. Nate and I will have our picks next week.
Yes, we will. Hopefully Buckles will remember to send me the list.
I have them on my phone. I have them on my phone. I have them on my phone. Actually, I have to edit it because I have some of my picks already made. Because I have nothing better to do with my time than think about wrestling all the time. Anyhow.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Oh, hell yeah.
That's terrifying. What you just did was terrifying. It's Christmas, not Halloween. Please stop.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I don't even know what I did. Fuck. I can't remember.
I don't know, but that YouTube's going to be terrifying now.
Oh, hell yeah. I don't know. Whatever it was.
Oh, God. Do we have an episode title?
I don't know, man. There's been several really good things. I almost want to call it Wrestling Against the Machine. You've got holy shit.
I like Wrestling Against the Machine. I do like that. I do like that.
So we'll stick with that on this very festive episode of Journey into Wrestling. Buckles, is there anything else we should talk to about them before we get out of here on the wrestling episode of the podcast?
I don't know how to follow. No. As always, you check us out on Twitter, on the Facebook page as well. JIW on JIC. I live tweeted last week's Raw. I'm probably going to live tweet Raw again this week. I'm on vacation, so I have plenty of free time. Send me texts, send me tweets, chat with me. God, engage with me. I'm so lonely. yeah, by all means, engage with us on Twitter. Talk back with us. If you have a podcast, send it to us. We will subscribe. I like signal boosting people. They
Yeah,
like signal
man, we're
boosting
about
us. I will probably next week when we're on the show, I do want to shout out some of the other podcasts that we do follow. I need to get an actual list up here, and I want to shout them out because they're having big years too. So
Absolutely.
and they do a lot of help retweeting with us. So by all means, yeah, check us out on Twitter.
Hell yeah, man. Well, pull the reins in here. Not Roman, but we're going to pull the reins in here and take the show back. We're going to tell you guys where you can check out the podcast. You had a gross visual in your head. Don't say it. I'm not pulling off reins.
We're talking about it. They wanted adult content. That's not the adult content we need.
Not happening, my friend.
God.
I'm not jerking off a Samoan. I'm sorry.
There's your show title. Oh God! Season 5, episode 11. Not jerking off a Samoan.
There you go. Yep, that's definitely going to be it. But as always, folks, you can check out our hilariously ridiculous podcast on the Journey into Comics network at journeyintocomics.com. Get us on all those podcasting platforms for you audio listeners. That's Apple Music, Amazon Music, Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play or Google Podcasts, TuneIn, CastBox, many others. Also, obviously, if you're here, you're seeing us in one of two places. Facebook Live, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for checking out our show. Make sure to start watch parties and retweet and share our shit. We love that. But also, if you're on YouTube, welcome to our channel. This is our second official episode on the channel, and you're going to be seeing a lot more from us. You're going to be seeing things evolve and change as we evolve with professional wrestling. Buckles, anything else we need to throw at them before we roll?
Merry fucking Christmas.
Merry fucking Christmas is right, you filthy animals. For Journey into Wrestling, Season 5, Episode 11, Not Jerking Off a Samoan, I'm Nate.
Oh, God help me. I'm Rudolph. Bye.
And as always, folks, we'll see you guys next time on another episode of Journey into Wrestling. Later, guys.